Welcome to the Stuffology Show, where we unravel the strange, fascinating, and sometimes downright bizarre stories that shape our world. I'm your host, and today we're soaring into the unknown with a deep dive into the history of UFO sightings. From ancient skies to modern-day mysteries, humans have been spotting weird things above us for centuries. Why are we so hooked on lights in the sky and tales of extraterrestrial visitors? This is a story about curiosity, fear, and our endless quest to understand the cosmos. So grab a comfy seat, maybe a telescope, and let's explore the wild history of UFOs. Humans have always looked up, and for as long as we've done so, we've seen things that don't quite fit. Way back in prehistoric times, people were carving strange images into stone. In Val Camonica, Italy, cave paintings from 10,000 BCE show figures wearing what look like helmets, with glowing discs hovering nearby. Were these early artists just dreaming up wild ideas? Or were they sketching something they actually saw? In ancient Egypt, around 1440 BCE, the Tully Papyrus describes circles of fire floating over the Nile, startling the pharaoh's scribes. In 218 BCE, Roman historians like Livy wrote about phantom ships gleaming in the sky, described as shields of light. Medieval Europe was no stranger to this either. In 776 CE, Anglo-Saxon chronicles mention fiery shields battling over a French monastery. Then there's the 1561 Nuremberg event, where a crowd swore they saw discs, crosses, and spears clashing in the dawn sky, like some cosmic war. These weren't called UFOs back then. People thought they were gods, omens, or divine messages. But the pattern's undeniable. Humanity's been captivated by unexplained lights and shapes overhead for millennia. These ancient stories set the stage, but the UFO phenomenon, as we know, it explodes in the 20th century. It's June 24th, 1947, and Kenneth Arnold, a businessman and private pilot, is flying his small plane near Mount Rainier, Washington. He spots 9 crescent-shaped objects zipping through the sky at speeds he estimates at over 1,700 miles per hour, way faster than any aircraft of the era. Their motion, he says, is like saucers skipping across water. The press grabs that phrase, and flying saucers become an overnight sensation. By the end of 1947, over 850 sightings are reported across the U.S. Glowing orbs, discs, even cigar-shaped craft. The timing's no coincidence. World War II just ended, leaving the world on edge. The Cold War's heating up, with fears of Soviet rockets or secret weapons. Sci-fi is everywhere. Pulp magazines, radio dramas like Orson Welles' 1938 War of the Worlds broadcast that spooked half the country. People see strange lights, and their minds jump straight to aliens. Just weeks after Arnold's sighting, something crashes near Roswell, New Mexico, and the story takes a wild turn. Rancher William Mack Brazel finds debris in his field, metallic beams with strange symbols, foil that springs back into shape, materials that won't burn or tear. The Roswell Army Airfield issues a press release saying they've recovered a flying disc. Within hours, they backtrack, claiming it's just a weather balloon. But locals aren't buying it. Stories spread of alien bodies, secret autopsies, and a military cover-up. By the 1970s, books like the Roswell Incident fuel the fire, claiming the debris was from a crashed spacecraft, hidden at Area 51, a secretive base in Nevada. No hard evidence ever surfaces, but Roswell becomes the beating heart of UFO lore. Today, it's got a museum, an annual festival, even alien-themed streetlights. It's not just a crash site. It's a cultural touchstone, a symbol of questioning what the government tells us. The 1940s and 50s are a perfect storm for UFO mania. The world's reeling from war, new technologies like jets and rockets are emerging, and sci-fi is shaping imaginations. People don't just see lights, they see meaning. Are these extraterrestrial scouts? Secret military projects? Optical illusions? The U.S. government steps in to investigate, launching Project Sign in 1947, which evolves into Project Blue Book by 1949. Over 22 years, they examined 12,618 sightings. Most are explained, weather phenomena, planes, stars, or outright hoaxes. But 701 cases, roughly 6%, remain unidentified. That's enough to keep people talking. Blue Book's public reports are dry and vague, and their secrecy, classified files, restricted access, only makes folks more suspicious. Were they hiding something, or just terrible at communicating? Roswell's shadow looms large, so let's dig into it. The debris Brazel found was bizarre, beams with hieroglyph-like markings, foil that bounced back like memory foam. The military's quick pivot from flying disc to balloon felt fishy to locals. Witnesses like Major Jesse Marcel, who handled the debris, insisted it wasn't from Earth. In the 1990s, the Air Force admitted the balloon was part of Project Mogul, a classified program to monitor Soviet nuclear tests using high-altitude balloons. But that explanation came decades too late, and it didn't satisfy everyone. By the 1980s, Area 51, a real secretive base in Nevada used for testing spy planes like the U-2, became the go-to spot for conspiracy theories. In 1989, Bob Lazar claimed he worked there, reverse engineering alien spacecraft. His story had no hard proof, but it was detailed enough to stick. Area 51 became a pop culture legend, a place where the truth was supposedly locked away. The 1950s and 60s see UFO stories shift from lights to encounters. In 1952, a wave of sightings hits Washington, D.C., with radar picking up unexplained blips over the Capitol and White House. Jets are scrambled, but the objects vanish. The Air Force blames temperature inversions, weather quirks bending radar signals, but the public's not convinced. Then there's the 1961 case of Betty and Barney Hill, a New Hampshire couple who say aliens abducted them while driving home. Under hypnosis, they describe gray-skinned beings with large eyes, medical exams on a ship, and a star map Betty claims she saw. Their story's a sensation, books, a TV movie, even academic studies. It becomes the template for abduction tales, with thousands later claiming similar experiences. People start checking their bodies for strange marks, wondering if they've been taken. Not every sighting is about aliens, though. Some are downright eerie. In 1966, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, reports a winged creature with glowing red eyes, nicknamed Mothman. Over a year, doesn't see it. Some up close, describing a man-like figure with wings. Some link it to a 1967 bridge collapse that killed 46 people. Was it an alien? A government experiment? A supernatural warning? Nobody knows, but Mothman adds a creepy layer to UFO lore. Around the same time, global sightings are spiking. In 1965, Australia sees a wave, including a Baldwin case where a photographer snaps a disc-shaped object in broad daylight. In Brazil, farmers in the 1970s report glowing figures in metallic suits buzzing their fields. In 1967, Canada's Falcon Lake incident leaves a man with grid-like burns after a craft allegedly lands near him. UFOs aren't just an American thing anymore. The world's hooked. Governments don't exactly calm the frenzy. Project Blue Book shuts down in 1969, with the Air Force saying there's no evidence of aliens or threats to national security. But their secrecy, classified files, vague conclusions, feeds distrust. In the 1970s, the so-called Majestic 12 documents surface, claiming a secret group was hiding alien evidence since Roswell. Most historians call them fakes, but they strike a nerve. Other countries start their own investigations. France's Gaipan, launched in 1977, studies UFOs and finds about 10% of cases unexplained. The UK's Ministry of Defense runs a UFO desk, releasing files in the 2000s showing thousands of reports. Brazil, Chile, and even the Soviet Union quietly investigate sightings. The U.S.'s secrecy about everything from spy planes to nuclear tests makes it easy to believe they're hiding extraterrestrials. The 1970s and 80s keep the UFO fire burning. Pop culture embraces the phenomenon, with films like Close Encounters of the Third Kind in 1977 capturing the awe and mystery. Abduction stories multiply, with people claiming telepathic messages or lost time. In 1975, a logger named Travis Walton in Arizona says he was abducted for 5 days after a glowing craft zapped him. His co-workers back him up, passing polygraphs. Skeptics cry hoax, but the story's gripping, turned into a 1993 film, Fire in the Sky. Meanwhile, crop circles start appearing, especially in the UK. Simple at first, they grow into intricate patterns by the 1980s. Some say they're alien messages, others point to pranksters. Either way, they fuel the UFO craze. By the 1980s, Area 51 is a household name, thanks to Bob Lazar and others claiming insider knowledge. The base's real purpose, testing stealth aircraft, only adds to the mystique. The 1990s turned UFOs into a cultural juggernaut. The X-Files, debuting in 1993, makes, I want to believe, a mantra for a generation. Its mix of paranoia and wonder captures the era's mood. New tech like camcorders lets people record sightings, but most footage is blurry or easily faked. Still, some cases stand out. In 1997, the Phoenix Lights grip Arizona. Thousands see massive, silent V-shaped lights drifting over the city. Governor Fife Symington, initially skeptical, later admits seeing them and says they didn't look man-made. The military calls them flares from a training exercise, but witnesses insist flares don't move like that. In Mexico, a 1991 solar eclipse sparks a wave of UFO videos. Metallic objects hovering in daylight, captured by dozens of cameras. The internet, just taking off, spreads these stories globally, connecting believers in ways never before possible. The internet revolutionizes UFO culture. By the 2000s, YouTube, forums, and early social media are flooded with videos and eyewitness accounts. Digital editing makes fakes easier, but credible cases keep emerging. In 2004, Navy pilots off the California coast record objects moving at hypersonic speeds with no visible propulsion, defying known physics. These tic-tac videos, leaked in 2017 by the New York Times, are a game changer. The Pentagon confirms they're real, and in 2020, they formed the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. UAPs become the new term, less little green men, more scientific. In 2021, a Pentagon report admits 144 UAP cases can't be explained. They don't confirm aliens, but they don't rule them out either. Suddenly, UFOs are a serious topic, not just sci-fi fodder. The 21st century sees a seismic shift in how we talk about UFOs. In 2019, Navy pilots go public, describing objects that outmaneuver their jets with impossible agility. In 2023, whistleblower David Grush testifies to Congress, claiming the U.S. has recovered non-human craft and even biological remains. He offers no hard proof, but the testimony grabs headlines. NASA jumps in, launching a UAP study in 2022 to analyze sightings with scientific rigor. Even skeptics are intrigued. Are these advanced drones? Chinese or Russian tech? Or something truly alien? The stigma's fading fast. Scientists, senators, and military officials discuss UAPs without giggling. Platforms like X keep the conversation alive, with users posting videos, analyzing flight patterns, and debating everything from physics to government cover-ups. Let's zoom out and look at why UFOs grip us so tightly. Psychologically, they tap into our need to believe in something bigger. In the 1940s, it was fear of war and new tech. In the 60s, it was the space race and dreams of cosmic neighbors. Today, it's about distrust in institutions and a yearning for meaning in a chaotic world. UFOs are a blank canvas. We project our hopes, fears, and questions onto them. Scientifically, they challenge our understanding of physics. The 2004 Tic Tac objects, for instance, moved with no visible propulsion, no heat signature, at speeds that would crush a human pilot. If they're not ours, what are they? Even if they're earthly, say, secret tech, they push the boundaries of what we think is possible. Globally, UFO stories vary but share common threads. In 1989, Belgium had a wave of sightings. Huge, silent triangular craft seen by thousands, tracked by radar. NATO jets chased them, but they vanished. In 1996, Brazil's Varginha incident involved claims of a crashed craft and captured aliens, with locals reporting strange creatures in the streets. Japan's 1970s sightings often described small, agile disks buzzing coastal towns. Zimbabwe's 1994 aerial school case is chilling. Over 60 schoolchildren claimed to see a craft land and humanoid figures emerge, communicating telepathically about environmental warnings. These stories, from every corner of the globe, show UFOs aren't just a Western phenomenon. They're a human one, shaped by local cultures, but united by a sense of wonder and mystery. The cultural impact of UFOs is massive. They've inspired sci-fi classics, Close Encounters, E.T., The X-Files, and shaped how we imagine the future. Roswell's a tourist trap now, with alien-themed diners and gift shops, but it's also a reminder of our distrust in authority. The 1970s abduction wave, with stories like Travis Walton's, sparked debates about memory, hypnosis, and the power of belief. Crop circles, even if some were hoaxes, became symbols of the unknown, inspiring art and music. The X-Files didn't just entertain. It made skepticism cool, urging us to question everything. Even today, every new UAP video on X or TikTok reignites the debate, pulling in new generations of believers and skeptics. What about the science? For decades, UFOs were dismissed as pseudoscience. But the 21st century's changing that. The Pentagon's 2021 report admitted we don't have all the answers. NASA's UAP study is collecting data from satellites, radar, and telescopes to analyze sightings systematically. Physicists like Avi Loeb at Harvard argue we should consider extraterrestrial possibilities, pointing to anomalies like Oumuamua, a strange object that passed through our solar system in 2017. Was it a comet? A probe? Nobody knows. Skeptics, meanwhile, point to more mundane explanations: optics, weather, or advanced human tech. The debate's no longer fringe. It's mainstream, with implications for physics, aerospace, and even philosophy. The legacy of UFO sightings is about more than lights in the sky. It's about us, our curiosity, our fears, our need to make sense of a universe that's vast and unknowable. Every ancient drawing, every blurry photo, every pilot story is a piece of that puzzle. Roswell, Area 51, the Phoenix Lights, they're not just events. They're stories we tell to grapple with the unknown. Whether it's aliens, secret tech, or our own imaginations, UFOs push us to ask big questions. Are we alone? What's out there? Why do we keep looking up? From cave art to Navy footage, the thread's the same. We see something strange, and we can't help but wonder. That's a wrap for today's cosmic journey, Stuffology fans. Thanks for tuning in to the Stuffology Show, where we chase the stories that make you go, whoa, really? If this episode got you staring at the stars, share it with a friend, and maybe keep a camera handy. You never know what's up there. Until next time, stay curious, keep questioning, and never stop looking up.